Hello and welcome to day 10 of our Viking Grand European River Cruise from Amsterdam to Budapest. Today we are in Passau. Passau is located in the southeastern corner of Germany, where it borders with Austria, and it's also very close to the Czech Republic. It is also known as the City of Three Rivers, as it is at the convergence of the Danube, the Inn River, and the Ilz. There were a number of shore excursions available in Passau, but before I talk about those, I want to show you an optional excursion to Salzburg, Austria. Now, you'll spend about half your time on the bus, as it's about a 2-hour drive through Austria to Salzburg, but the trip through the Austrian countryside is beautiful. If you've never been to Salzburg, it's a good trip to make, as it will give you an idea if you want to come back. It is the birthplace of Mozart, and his birthhouse is still there. The Cathedral Square is also wonderful, and then, according to the tour, you get a wonderful meal in one of their excellent restaurants. Turning back to the other tours, there's a morning shore excursion plus 2 afternoon optional excursions, but for this we'll concentrate on the Passau walking tour. The population of Passau is only 50,000, so it doesn't take too long to go through some of the major sites of the city. The 3 highlights of the tour are the bishop's residence, the 14th century Rathaus, and the magnificent St. Stephen's Cathedral. At the end of this video, I will show you some things that you can do with your free time in the afternoon. As I mentioned earlier, Passau is a city of 3 rivers, and the main part of the town sits on a peninsula between the Danube and the Inn rivers. Our ships were docked right on the Danube in town itself, so it's an easy start for our walking tour as we walk along the Danube itself. They call it the beautiful blue Danube, but we saw no such thing. And of course the water was very high, so that may be a reason for that. Our first stop is the gateway to the old city right next to St. Paul's Parish Church, which is the oldest church in Passau, founded in 1050. This archway leads us into the Altstadt, the old part of Passau. Then we encounter some wonderful gardens right next to the Palace-Bogen, which is a hotel. Next we stop in the residence square of Passau, where we see the Wittelsbach fountain, which was actually built in 1903, but at the feet of the Virgin Mary are 3 angels symbolizing the 3 rivers of Passau. The Inn angel, interestingly enough, wears a Tyrolean hat, a nod to the river's origin in the Alps. We turn from the fountain to the old bishop's residence, and it's a grand historical landmark that once housed the Prince Bishops of Passau. Its construction began in the 13th century, and it is a mix of architectural styles, Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque. Now we head back down the hill towards the Danube, where we can get a good look at the Veste Oberhaus, which is a fortress overlooking the city and the Danube. I'll talk some more about this at the end of the video. Turning around, we can see the Alte Rathaus, the old city hall, which was built around 1298 and completed by 1408. And it has a beautiful facade decorated with murals depicting historical figures like Emperor Ludwig of Bavaria and knights in armor. Right next to the old city hall is the Hotel Wildermann, the Wild Man Hotel, and it was established in 1672 and shares the building with a glass museum, which I will come back and talk about a little bit later. Now I want to pause for a moment and talk about the sign on the wall, which shows how high the water was in June of 2013. As you may recall, our cruise was interrupted a bit by high water on the Danube, and in the spring of 2024, there was significantly high water on the Danube in Passau. We head back up the hill to our final stop for the walking tour, and that's to St. Stephan's Cathedral. But before we do, we go down a little street called Hohe Gasse, which translates in English to Hell Alley. But this is an artist's colony, and walking down the street, you will see many examples of artwork in the windows and on the walls. Now we head up the hill towards the Passau Cathedral and follow through the narrow alleys, where in one of the alleys we encounter something quite interesting, and that's the Topfhead, or the Fool of Passau. Supposedly, this is all that remains of a statue that fell from the cathedral during a fire in the 1600s. There's a plaque near the Fool of Passau with an inscription that says, "I fell down from the Passau Cathedral, breaking my beautiful body. Still I'm up and about, and only a bit weak in the head." You can also buy cookies that honor this wonderful head. Next, we take a look at the Passau Cathedral, known as St. Stephan's Cathedral, Stephan's Dome. The church has stood on this site since 1730, and this current structure was built between 1668 and 1693. That was after a fire destroyed the previous cathedral in 1662. Remember our famous head. There is a statue in front of the church that honors King Maximilian I Joseph of Bavaria, and it was built in 1825 to commemorate the king's 25th year on the throne. As we enter the cathedral, we're struck by the Baroque architecture, which is known for its grandeur, ornate details, and dramatic use of light and shadow. There are stunning frescoes, stucco work, and sculptures. The high altar has a depiction of the stoning of St. Stephan, and the pulpit is adorned with statues of the four evangelists. The most notable aspect of the Passau Cathedral is its massive organ. It has 17,974 pipes, and it's the largest cathedral organ in Europe. It used to be in the world. The organ's divided into 5 organs, but the keyboard plays all 5. That concludes the walking tour of Passau. But I want to share with you a couple things that you can do in the afternoon, and the first of that is to visit the Glass Museum, Passau. It turns out you were there. It was the Hotel Wildermann, and it also houses a glass museum. And Passau is well known for its glass production, and there are floors of glasswork throughout here that you're able to go see. There's another interesting connection between the Glass Museum and the Hotel Wildermann, and that is Empress Elizabeth of Austria, Sisi, stayed here for a week in 1862, and they have preserved the rooms in which she and her husband Joseph stayed. Another site you can see in the afternoon is the Veste Oberhaus, which is on a hill overlooking the Danube. And right in front of the city hall is the Danube itself, and there is a bus stop there that will take you up to the Veste Oberhaus. The Veste Oberhaus was founded in 1219 and has a long and rich history, and it began as a Gothic citadel. It's a prime example of medieval military architecture, and it has powerful outer walls with towers and bastions, a central keep, the innermost tower, and inner courtyards and buildings used for various purposes, and a beautiful Prince's Palace showcasing the Renaissance influences. And it also has magnificent views of the city, and I want to stop here for a moment and point out the ship going underneath the bridge. Notice that everything on the top is folded down, and that's so the ship can actually get under the bridge. Now across the way is another site you may want to go see, and that's the Maria Hilf Pilgrimage Church, which is on the opposite hill. It is a pilgrimage church, and some of the pilgrimage activities include walking the pilgrimage path, which is a spiritual act for some pilgrims, and the uphill path is adorned with religious imagery. We leave you now with another look at the charming city of Passau. The walking tour was only 90 minutes long, so you need to plan to do something in the afternoon, and there are a couple optional tours. Or you can see some of the sites like the Glass Museum, the Fortress, or the Pilgrimage Church. So we returned to the ship for a couple activities, a presentation on Viennese coffee, a port talk, and dinner was a taste of Germany, which was Bavarian food. And then finally we had a German lesson. Dinner had the requisite German food, pretzels, bratwurst, and sauerkraut, and our program director even dressed the part. Finally, we had a German lesson, and there's a quote from Mark Twain. Whenever the literary German dives into a sentence, that is the last you're going to see of him till he emerges on the other side of the Atlantic with the verb in his mouth. And that is very true. Thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the video.